Live from Happy Valley Studios, this is the MCS1 show. And now your host, the guy who voted for Nader twice, MCS1.
Welcome to the MCS1 show. I am MCS1.
And this is Caleb.
And today we're going to be discussing a topic that is very dear to our hearts.
Very dear.
Very dear. Today we are going to be discussing people that ruin parties. And I feel it's long been past that this should have been discussed a while ago.
Definitely overdue.
Definitely
overdue.
So, for my opening remarks, I would just like to say about an experience that happened to me. I would like to talk about this. So, what happened was a couple weeks ago, I went to a party for a friend. Great friend. I actually went to 2 parties that night. And the first one was just like a simple, Christmas party.
Okay.
White outfit exchange type thing, and it went really well.
Did you dress as Santa?
No, I wore my top hat though.
Very nice.
Which,
okay.
Oddly enough,
acceptable.
Very acceptable, and everyone actually took my top hat and started wearing it around at both parties I went to.
Fair enough.
Which is pretty cool.
So it was a big hit.
It was. It was great. So, and then I went to my friend's birthday party, and it was great. We had cake, standard birthday party thing, and later on the show we'll discuss different types of parties and stuff. But then all of a sudden these 2 guys came in, and they were really close to my friend. So these 2 guys came in, and instantly, they kind of demanded attention. And it kind of killed the party. So, I want to talk about things that they said that killed the party.
Okay.
As well. First of all, something that they did was they didn't ask our names first to me and my friends. They asked what school we went to.
That's a valid question.
Yeah, the first thing they asked us, not our names or anything like that, but what school we went to.
Hey, we're at a party. Are you guys students?
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
Seriously, it was
I don't know, that seems odd to me as the first question.
Well, the school that they went to, which is University of Utah, is a school that I do not look highly upon. Because I originally was going to go there, and I met with one of the advisors, and she was super rude to me, and I just had no desire to go to that school.
It's kind of funny, I actually also had a very, very bad experience. I went to the University of Utah.
Oh.
Before, back in 2006. This is when I was studying piano, and I actually composed a piece of music.
Uh-huh.
And my piano teacher, my private piano teacher, claimed the rights to it and published it as his own song.
Oh my! And this was at University of Utah.
The University of Utah. Yeah.
Okay. So wow.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I understand how you feel on that one.
Yeah, and so I'm not a fan of the school in general. I don't know too many kids that go there. I have a couple friends that go there, but generally I'm not too keen on this school. And so they're asking that, and I mentioned that I didn't enjoy I was going to go there, but I didn't enjoy the way I was treated. If I wanted to be treated awful, I would have stayed in the Midwest and gone to school there. And so,
right.
Yeah, and so they're okay. And then eventually, they brought their wives actually to the party, and then the wives actually asked us what our names were, and they were kind of nice. But I started talking and just telling stories and stuff, because that's kind of what I do at parties. I talk.
That's what you're supposed to do at a party.
Yeah, and so I start talking and telling stories, and I get to the end of one of my stories, and one of the guys goes, "Wow, that was an awful story."
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey,
thanks.
That just warms my soul.
Yeah, seriously.
Thanks,
Thank
buddy.
you, Captain Condescending.
Right?
And so, and then the same guy keeps they start talking about their majors to us. They don't ask us what our majors are. They just start talking about theirs.
Okay, so
and so one of them was done with school, and he was an economics major.
Okay. Boring.
Yeah, boring. Exactly. And so I was just okay, whatever. And the other one is a finance major.
Wow. So
also boring.
Boring.
Yeah. And
twice.
And so He keeps talking about how University of Utah has this entrepreneur contest or whatever, and he keeps trying to talk to us in marketing. He's like, if you have any good ideas, let me know, and all this other stuff. It's like, well, no, because, I'm afraid that you might steal it as well, just based on kind of what happened to you, Caleb.
Right.
Piano teacher. So I didn't really want to do this, but he kept marketing this the whole time. And literally, and then they tried to kind of control conversation to their boring things, and it literally killed the party mood. And the party mood didn't resurface until they left. And then everyone started talking again. I tried talking with my friends and stuff, separately away from these guys, but then they would come in and I don't know, swoop down and take the conversation, I guess. I don't know a better way to phrase it.
Like a bald eagle.
Like a predator. And it was ridiculous. So, and it was just an awful experience because they, ruined the party.
Yeah, and I think most people probably have at least a similar story.
Yes.
And I think that, anybody can really relate to that. By the way, this was not to offend anybody in the finance field or in the economics field.
But you guys do have rather...
It's part of a story.
But you guys do kind of have a little bit of boring
field.
Boring majors. Really.
I think most of you probably...
But most of you realize this, though.
And you know what? Everybody has different interests. So,
and I was a business major for a long time, so
also,
I understand.
No offense, Mark, but boring.
Yes, I know, which is why I changed my major. So it's very boring. Trust me, I was there, bored out of my mind in class. So let's talk about, first of all, before we get into the people that ruin parties, and we get on with stories and stuff, let's talk about what types of parties there are. And so, Kayla brought up a really good one right before the show.
80s parties.
80s parties.
Now, and there's,
the one time the 80s are acceptable.
Exactly. and it's so funny because, nobody really wants to wear 80s fashions except at an 80s party. Which,
yes.
And Nick Swartzen, the comedian, he outlines it perfectly. He's going, chicks just love 80s parties. You could be like, hey.
They really do.
I know, right? You'd be like, hey, there's a party, down the street. Osama bin Laden, he's gonna have a party. Osama. Yeah, he's having a party. Osama? The terrorist? Yeah, he's having a party. Come on, let's go. No, that guy's a jerk. And he's like, yeah, but it's an 80s party.
80s party.
What time is it? Go for a half hour. But it's true. 80s parties is I don't understand what it is, but there were only two good things about the 80s. Michael Jordan and... right? What else came out? Michael Jordan entering the NBA and the parties that it produced. Other than that, sorry, also, I will say, The Karate Kid was a pretty legendary movie just because of Mr. Miyagi.
The 80s had some decent movies.
Yeah, and that's fine. Every decade though has,
of course.
50s even have decent movies, and that's back before movies were actually, special effects in those movies are ridiculous. It's like some guy turns a fan on for the wind and you can hear him flip the switch and you're just like, okay. But I think movies are kind of like an exception to this rule because it's like, I think anything, or any decade, any given decade has at least one or two. The James Bonds from the 70s with Sean Connery were good.
Of course. And Star Wars.
Oh, and Star Wars. Absolutely. The 80s produced, Back to the Future.
Yeah, the 80s had some good movies.
They had movies, but other than that, culturally, parachute pants have never been a good idea. No. Never will be a good idea. And anyone that thinks they are a good idea needs to call Will Smith from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
So, other types of parties, and stuff like that. There's the standard birthday parties.
Of course, yeah.
Or whatever. Then there's the standard...
Are we talking the Chuck E. Cheese birthday parties?
Let's say both.
Okay, both.
We'll say both.
Birthday parties in a house and birthday parties in the... Okay.
Yeah, I'm just trying to throw them out.
Okay.
Just throw them out there. The standard, talking parties where people sit around, chill, and talk.
Sure.
Then there's, some, I don't want to say... There's, the LAN parties, which are way nerdy. But then there's also, DDR or connect parties, which are less nerdy, but still nerdy.
Yeah, still, I mean, they're on the nerd scale.
They're on the nerd scale, but they're somewhat acceptable. And then there's the standard parties with drinking or whatever.
Like binge drinking?
And beer pong and all all that junk. And I'm not a fan of those. When I would actually go to parties growing up, I would ask drunk people for gas money. And it was kind of dishonest, but I would walk up to people and I would say, "Hey, I don't have enough gas money to get home," and I actually rode with my friends. And
but they would just give you gas money?
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh yeah, man, totally," and they would give me like $5. And if you're really good, you can ask the same people twice.
Well, and all you really got to do too is just say, "Hey, bro, dude, sweet party, right?
Right?
Aren't you just having a great time? Oh, me too. But listen, I got a book, but dude, I don't have any gas money. Can you spot me a 5 spot?
Spot me a 5 spot." So, and then there's like themed parties, which is like the 80s party.
80s party.
80s party. I've been to a black and white party where people just wear black and white.
Sure.
Then there's
mustache parties. I've been to a few of those.
Yeah. Then those are
weird, but I mean, you get like a fake mustache and you put it on, and
then there's like the pink parties. Which I'm not a fan of those.
I've never been. I've
heard. You wear pink and it's really they're kind of dumb. Boring.
Is everything you eat pink too? Because then that limits you to pink lemonade.
Pink lemonade and cookies with pink frosting.
Yeah.
Think anything Valentine's Day.
Oh, so we could have those little heart-shaped antacid candies?
Yes. And Pepto-Bismol.
What are the conversation hearts? That's what they're called. So
let's talk about things that ruin these parties.
Okay.
So I got one or whatever. Obviously, or people that ruin these parties, I should say. So I have one. Obviously, the people, like as I said earlier, that demand control of the party.
Like the attention seekers.
Yeah, I would like to call them actually attention terrorists.
Okay.
Because they kind of walk in and they kind of have like a bomb strapped to them.
Yes, they do.
And if you don't give them attention, they freak out.
Yeah.
And like every time attention goes away, they pull out the big guns, which are talking about finance major, being a finance major, or the entrepreneur contest, and they start shooting it at you.
Oh man!
Unless you are quiet and give them the attention.
Right. Another one, the drama queen.
Oh yeah.
I mean, those happen in everybody's
party.
Heard that song, the "It's my party and I'll cry if I want to." No, it should be this: "It's my party and I should probably pretend to be a good host."
Yeah.
That's what that song should say. "It's my party and I'll cry if I want to." Okay, don't throw a party then.
Yeah, like I hate the drama kids parties.
Absolutely.
I mean, not like theater drama kids parties because I went to that on Friday and that was really good.
That's different.
Yeah, I'm talking like the people like crying and stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he's with her. He should be with me.
Right.
And
those exactly.
It's like high school.
All over again. And we've already been through this.
Yes, we've been through this.
It was not a good time.
No, it wasn't. And so I can't stand that. Another thing I can't stand, the guy who, and everyone's seen this, the guy who hangs out over by the food trays and stuff and is constantly consuming the food.
Yep. It just makes you feel like awkward going over there. You're like, "Hey, can I get a cent?" No.
Yeah, like he just takes it like right out of your hand almost.
Yeah, no, true story. Okay, true story. So there was a party that had some spinach dip, and I absolutely love spinach dip.
Yeah,
and they had those, those little bread triangles they cut out, and they're just really good with you put a little bit of spinach on them.
Oh yeah,
it's so good. So I was walking over, and it was it's a pretty big bowl, and right as I got there, a guy picks up the bowl and leaves. And I'm just like, what? I was like, "Hey, are you, do you have like a monopoly on the spinach dip? Like, what's going on?"
I do.
So I went over to him and I said, "Hey, can I get some of that spinach dip?" And he's like, "No, I need it."
I need it.
I need it? Like, okay. Not I want it. Not I'm a complete pig and I'm going to eat all of it even if you want some. I need it.
Oh, man.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love spinach dip, but I don't think it's a necessity.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's up there with oxygen and water.
That's probably
and housing.
It's pretty high up there. Maybe clothing.
Yeah.
I don't know if it surpasses clothing.
It might. I don't know. If you were starving, which would you rather have, clothing or spinach dip?
Spinach dip.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. You got me there. And plus, with enough spinach dip, you could solve world hunger.
Oh yes, this is true. But not balancing our diets.
Right.
So,
right.
Another thing is, I hate about parties, people that ruin parties. The really loud, and it's never a dude, it's always a girl. The really loud girl. And every time someone comes in, she's like, "Oh my gosh! It's blah blah blah! I haven't seen you in forever!" And it's like,
man.
That's our roommate. Like, it's no secret. I used to live at a crack house with a bunch of crackheads.
Okay.
About,
I remember that.
About a year and a half ago, and it was awful. And they partied all the time.
And there was that one girl.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, who was actually my roommate.
Ooh.
That I was living with.
Hooray.
And yeah, she was nuts. And so, oh man, I hated living there because our topic today is people who ruin parties. This is parties who ruin people.
Okay.
Like, they partied so much that, like, it destroyed me. And I didn't want to party ever again.
Yeah. And like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm a fun-loving guy. Parties are okay, but yeah, there are those times when you're just like, ugh.
Yeah, I never want to hear Kesha ever again after living there.
Wait, was there a point when you did want to hear Kesha?
Well, no, but
even less.
Yeah, even less.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
It was like really painful.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And they had a speaker system built throughout the whole house except for bedrooms. So
no matter where
where I was, I couldn't hide from TikTok, and it was awful. It was pretty bad.
Oh, that's terrible.
And
news.
so, but yeah, the loud girl who, like, every time you see someone or whatever.
Is she the same one that, like, the binge drinking party is going, woo?
Yes, exactly. And when I lived in a crack house, obviously they were doing drugs. I did not. I don't even drink, really. I never drink. The only alcohol I've ever had in my life has been a NyQuil. Yeah. And even then I feel ashamed. But, well, yeah, they would do a lot of questionable things. And like one party, it was a Cinco de Mayo party. She ran up to me and she pulled this thing out of her. What?
Question: were they Hispanic?
No, they weren't. They were throwing it for their Hispanic friends.
Okay.
Which only there was like 5 that showed up, and the rest were all white kids.
Okay. White to Spanish ratio: 3 to 1, 4 to 1.
90 to 1.
Wow. Okay.
Pretty much is what it felt like.
That's
great
party. Do you understand anything about their culture?
Yeah. Basically, it was well. They had a lot of Coronas.
Okay. Well,
I guess that works. Maybe no.
Sort of ties in.
So okay. So she walks up to me. She's like, "Oh my gosh, Mark, you have to see this," or whatever. And she pulls this out of her pocket, and it's a sucker. And I'm like, "Okay." She's like, "It's a weed sucker," and she starts yelling about how awesome it is. And I'm like, "Okay, 1, I don't care. 2, you're causing a scene just by talking to me. So I'm gonna go over here where you're not."
Yeah, that's when you pull the. Hey, that's really. I'm gonna go over here now.
Yeah,
I just need to.
I got to make sure the punch hasn't been spiked again.
Well,
which it has.
This part of the floor needs to be stood on. So
yeah.
I'm gonna go there and stand. Please don't follow me.
Yeah. So then, another thing I'd like to bring up that ruin parties. No matter what type of party you were at, this will kill it. It'll suck the fun right out of the room. It is someone pulling up a YouTube video. Always, always, always. Pictures are acceptable. Yes. Like if you have like your phone or whatever, you're like, "Oh, check out this picture of something I did." Like I did this photo shoot a while back. It was called Cocaine Guy, and I had all this powdered sugar on my nose. And I did all these pictures or whatever, and it was, oh my gosh, it was painful after a while. And after this, I never want to touch powdered sugar again. But
how do you feel about cocaine?
Yeah, well,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, after living at the crack house. So I show pictures of that from time to time because somehow every party I go to, it gets brought up about powdered sugar. And I'm like, "Oh, I hate powdered sugar." And they're like, "Why?" And then I got to go into the story and I have pictures of it on my phone and I show it. Pictures are okay, but a video.
Yeah.
It just kills it because it's like some guys like, and like, it could be anybody who does this. Like even nice people. Like I've had my friends do this, but it's like, it just kills the mood because everyone's like talking. It's like, you have to see this video and then, or listen to this song actually.
Yeah.
You have to hear this song. And if it's not in like the party lineup and you have to hear this song or watch this video, everyone has to, it's like, okay guys, be quiet. You have to watch this video. And then everyone has to awkwardly crowd around the phone or the laptop.
Which is never big enough.
Yeah, which is never big enough.
Yeah.
To see this video and no one can hear it because everyone's like breathing and they're getting close up and it's like, and you can't hear anything. And because everyone's breathing and then it's like uncomfortable and stuff. And then like all of a sudden you look over and you're next to your ex-girlfriend. And then it's like, oh, no.
And that's when you're just like, okay, I just remembered that I have to
stand over here.
Change the
Parties.
light bulb
See what
in my apartment at home. I forgot about it.
What I always do is I always tell people that I always have another party to go to after.
Oh, there you go.
And so that way I'm like, yeah, guys, I gotta get going. I have this other party. And that way I never look like an awful person. And most of the time I really do have another party. And if I end up staying, what I'll be like is like, oh, that other party, I see those people all the time.
Yeah.
I don't need to go see them again, and you guys are way cooler than that other party.
Yeah.
I was just going to go to like, make an appearance, but now it's like, it's not even worth it.
Okay. So if you get on the off chance that you don't get one of these scenarios.
Yeah.
You have it. Okay. Right.
So you have a way out, people. It's like, yeah, I have this other party to go to.
Yeah. I mean, you never want to pull I got a test tomorrow.
Yeah, because then you don't look cool.
Well, that and nobody believes you.
You have a test on Saturday morning?
Yeah. It's a weekend. Testing center is only open a little bit.
Yeah.
Till 1.
For my basket weaving Saturday class.
Yeah, underwater basket weaving Saturday evening class.
Evening class. Gotta go by.
Gotta go see it.
So, and then another thing that ruins parties, the really bad storyteller.
Yep.
Always bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like that they just never have good stories. We all know those people. I worked with one a while back. His name was Bernie. And Bernie would tell bad stories like this, and it was always the same formula. It would be A plus B equals C, and C was, now here's the funny part, which is supposed to be the punchline, which isn't funny. So example, Bernie, A, I went to the rodeo this weekend.
Boring.
Yes. B, I came home and my cat was outside. C, now here's the funny part. I went up to, my cat wasn't outside when I left, and my screen on my second floor was torn out, and my cat must have jumped through and landed on my lawn.
Good story, Bernie.
Yeah, good story, Bernie.
Cool story.
Cool story, bro. But yeah, that's pretty much like, and we all know those people or whatever that like go in and they tell bad stories at parties.
And they make everybody be quiet. So that everyone, and it's just like, that's just like augmenting, first of all, your embarrassment.
Oh.
It's like, oh yeah, hey, I have this stupid story to tell. Can you guys all shut up?
Shut up, guys. Just shut up.
Hold on, I gotta tell about my cat when he went outside. Could you guys keep it down over there? Stop having fun.
Quit watching the YouTube video.
Stop. Quit watching that YouTube video and come listen to my story.
Yeah. You're there with the spinach dip. Come here. So,
hey, spinach dip.
I got a story for you. Oh, another one. It goes back to the demanding it. Kind of like the terrorist.
The attention terrorist.
The attention terrorist. But it's the attention terrorist who can't get attention. Period. Ooh. Now those are the worst. It's like, now the attention terrorist I was dealing with, he was in a position, sadly, to demand attention because he was a really close friend of the host of the party. Okay. So Fine. He was kind of in a position to demand attention.
Fine.
But unfortunately, but I had an 18-year-old roommate who constantly demanded attention. And I would go to I went to a party once. It was like after he moved out. and he showed up to this party, and it was a waffle party, and everyone's like eating and telling stories, and I got like, every time I go to a party, I end up getting a circle around me because people are listening or think I'm funny or whatever. So I'm sitting there, and I'm doing like Charlie Sheen impressions or something. Charlie Sheen, and so winning, and so he's trying to like, I don't remember what he was doing, but he kept trying to like cut into the conversation, and then people would talk right over him.
Hey guys,
yeah, and it like,
wait,
it's like he tried to ruin the party but was unsuccessful.
Yeah,
it's like he had a bomb, but it was really made of hot dogs, armor hot dogs.
Ew.
So yeah, yeah. What can you think of any other types of people that you can think of that ruin parties?
I mean, on the attention seeker one, it's like
the attention seeker is by far the worst.
It's
the attention
by far the
terrorist.
worst, but it's just like, I mean, the one thing that always gets me is that, I mean, there are those that get ignored, and then there are those that refuse to get ignored.
Oh,
and what they do, I mean, it's basically goes like
I call that ex-girlfriend syndrome.
Okay, there you go. Okay. Though in my memory's case, it was actually a guy, so definitely not that. But no, it was just, I mean, went to a party, and nobody's, he's trying to tell these cool stories, or I guess, quote, cool, unquote.
Cool.
Not really cool, like.
Oh, funny story about that, about the word cool.
Okay.
My roommate and I, we noticed people don't really say cool that much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And we were tired of everyone saying gay, so we've actually replaced the two of them. So every time someone says cool now,
it's gay.
Well, I don't want to say gay, but I think of it as
lame,
a derogatory.
like lame.
Yeah, lame. I think of it as
There
a
you go.
derogatory sense. Now, so I'll be in class and my teacher will say, "Oh, that's cool," and I'll like try not to laugh.
I'm like, dang it.
But it makes you think twice about the word cool. Anyway, go on with your cool story.
So yeah, and he would just tell these things, and it was just like, they're not cool at all. Well, they are cool now under the new definition of cool.
Yeah.
And
cool.
And then he would just, I mean, nobody would listen to him because it was a dumb story. It had nothing to do with anything that anybody was talking about. And he would try to make it sound like it did.
Oh boy.
But it didn't.
Ouch.
Like I had a friend that was talking about this, this horrible experience he had at the DMV. And I mean, I was just like, wait, so any visit there ever?
Yeah, I mean, the DMV is just awful.
It's a horrible place. I mean,
yeah.
it makes Kansas seem great. Anyway, so then he just
barely.
Yeah. So he just, and he's like, oh yeah, on that note, I was on the bus the other day and I was like, how was
the people that always come back to bad stories. Like,
and it's just,
you try to stop them, but they keep going back to it.
And not only that, but then it's just like, by the end of it, like, he literally said, everybody shut up, I have a cool story to tell you. And then he told his story. And, okay, you know how in these moments, like, oh yeah, and the crowd goes wild.
The crowd goes wild.
With him, it was like, and the crowd goes silent. Not even crickets were chirping. It was so bad that, like,
Spinach guy has attention everyone.
Spinach guy
has left the building.
I mean, and then everybody was like, oh, where's that spinach dip? I'm so sad now. Because I really need something to drown my, sorrows in.
Spinach dip dude isn't going to share anyway.
Yeah, he's not coming back.
Yeah, he ain't coming back. He got what he came for.
Let's be serious. This guy's gone for life.
And for closing remarks, I really don't have much to say. It's kind of self-explanatory, but please, if you are one of these people, either don't do this at parties, don't hoard the spinach dip, tell bad stories, be an attention terrorist. Don't do that, or just stay home. I don't want my or anyone else's evening ruined by the dip being taken, a YouTube video being shown, or a bad story being told.